Authorities in Colorado in the US say a number of people have been injured, some seriously, in what appears to have been a targeted attack against demonstrators who had gathered to call for the release of hostages who remain in Gaza. Now, witnesses say the man threw Molotov cocktails at participants of the regular event, which has been held since the start of the war in Gaza in October 2023. The police chief in Boulder, Colorado, says a suspect is in custody after authorities responded to reports that a man was setting people on fire. With more on this, we're joined by our North America correspondent, Carrington Clark from Washington. Carrington, what do we know?
Yeah, the investigation is still continuing, but there is now mounting evidence. And we have heard from the Colorado Attorney-General, who says this does appear to have been a hate crime because it appears that the group targeted was this group who was protesting, demonstrating in support of the hostages who are still held in Gaza. There is this video circulating, which seems to show a person armed with Molotov cocktails in the middle of Boulder, Colorado, before he is apprehended by police. This is obviously a horrifying, terrifying incident for those people who were targeted. But the first real breaking news we had on this was directly from the FBI Director Kash Patel, who took to social media to say that this was a targeted terror attack. Now, the local police force were being far more measured in their commentary when they held a press conference a little while ago and said that they were still trying to work out exactly what the motive was in this incident. But it does appear that the threat at this point has passed with only this one suspect taken into custody. But this is a little of what we heard in that press conference.
Our initial call, as I mentioned, was a report that someone was setting people on fire. That is fairly consistent with the injuries that we found on scene, but we're not 100% certain how that happened, and that's what we're doing to interview. There's a lot of witnesses that we're interviewing. I suspect within this evening, we'll have a better idea of exactly how those injuries occurred.
Now, this comes quite soon after we saw an attack here in Washington, D.C., where two Israeli embassy workers were gunned down. They were killed outside a Jewish museum here, the Capitol Jewish Museum, by a suspect who was then videoed screaming "Free Palestine" at the time. So after that incident, we saw security increased here in Washington, D.C. Around Israeli properties, but also other faith-based properties within the district. And there has been obviously growing concern about political violence in the United States, particularly relating to what's occurring in the Middle East. So this does appear to be, the FBI director is saying that this is a terror attack, and that's how it's being investigated. And it does seem to be the latest example of political violence here in the United States. At this point, it doesn't appear that anyone has died, but it does appear that some people are very seriously injured.